Hello, good morning. I hope that you're all well and that you've had a good 2 weeks. Last weekend I didn't do a video because I was in the States with my girlfriends for a week of stitching, talking, laughing. We laughed a lot and eating, and we ate an awful lot, too many chocolates. There was more of me that came home than went. The week did us all so much good. Our hearts were overflowing with happiness. And when I was travelling home, I thought I wanted to share my joy and happiness with all my needlework friends. So I thought, let's do something special in today's floss tube. Now, this weekend there will be 2 floss tubes. I'm splitting them into 2. The second one will focus on the ABC online tutorial, picking up where we left off 2 weeks ago. But this video is all about sharing something special with you. So we have a new release with a wonderful backstory, and we have a giveaway for a Potoky stand. And this is a modern stand, and the giveaway is sponsored by Potoky and Hobby House Needleworks. And I'm very grateful to Mr. Potoky and to Kathy and David Mills of Hobby House Needleworks for sponsoring this giveaway. These stands, they're amazing, but I'm going to talk about that more a little bit later and how you enter the giveaway. The first thing I want to talk about is this sampler, Georgiana Caroline Williams. And if you enjoyed Pole Dark, there is a very strong connection to Pole Dark with this sampler. Now, some of you will already be familiar with Georgiana because I've spoken about her in a presentation. But I thought you might enjoy that presentation as well. So I'm going to read from my notes for the presentation. It's always a little bit odd reading notes sat down, not stood in front of a room, but that's what I'm going to do for you. Now, Coco Chanel described simplicity as the key to elegance. And the sampler that Georgiana stitched as a child is quite simply elegant. I fell in love with her sampler the moment I saw it, and the very day it arrived, I sat down to reproduce her and started to stitch her. The original sampler is in excellent condition and is worked in black silk. Now, prior to the 1800s, black dye was fixed with iron mordant, which deteriorated, causing thread loss. However, by the time that Georgiana stitched her sampler, black dye was stable, inexpensive and widely available. It was a very popular choice for monochrome samplers stitched by young girls who attended fee-paying schools. These girls would have been from the middle and upper classes of society. Black's distinctive colour made it easier for the girls to see their work and for their teachers to inspect their work. The use of black thread in fee-paying schools distinguished the work of their pupils from that worked in charity schools. Red was used in charity schools because it was widely available, and like black thread, it was easier for pupils and schoolmistresses to see the stitched work. We often hear that red was used because it was the cheapest colour, but I do not think that is strictly correct. It was comparable in price to black thread. A factor to consider about the use of red thread in charity schools is that most charity schools were founded and run by churches. Red has religious connotations. On a calendar, traditionally saints' days and other holy days are shown in red, hence the saying, a red letter day. Now, Georgiana's sampler is a marking sampler, and we see many marking samplers worked by schoolgirls. The letters and numbers learnt while stitching a sampler were especially useful, since it was important for women, no matter their class, to be able to keep track of personal and household linen. It was also a skill required for domestic servants. Now, in samplers, we see far more rows of uppercase letters worked than lowercase letters. The letters were usually worked in uppercase on a girl's sampler because of their intended use as initials to mark linen. The reason for marking linen is that each piece can be identified. Linen was marked with the initial letters of the owner and with 1 or 2 figures put underneath the letters. The reason for the numbers was to show how many articles of the same kind the owner possessed. Traditionally in England, bed linen, towels and handkerchiefs were marked in the upper left-hand corner and tablecloths and napkins marked in the lower left-hand corner. The use of different stitches and fonts for the lettering was due to the different types of items that would be marked with the initials. Cross stitch would sit well on cotton items such as undergarments, whilst Algerian eyelets would be more suited to heavier fabric. It should be noted that items such as handkerchiefs and other articles where both sides would be seen when used were marked with true marking stitch, which was a reversible cross stitch. Threads were not carried between letters. The exquisitely laid stitches in Georgiana's sampler demonstrate that she was skilled with marking stitch. Let's focus on Georgiana's backstory. The backstory is often what endears me to a sampler. Georgiana Caroline Williams had a fine pedigree. She was the only daughter of Lieutenant Colonel Richard Michael Williams of the 3rd King's Own Hussars of Treglow, Cornwall, and Georgiana Sophia Philpotts. Her paternal grandfather, Lord Williams of Treglow, was not only a baronet but the High Sheriff of Cornwall. The Williamses were one of the greatest mining dynasties in the Old World. The family are well documented, notably because of their ambitious business activities and interests during the early Industrial Revolution, when Cornwall's tin and copper industry prospered. They were so wealthy and powerful that the Williamses paid their workers in their own currency during a national currency shortage. The scoria penny remains an important symbol of Cornwall's 18th century mining zenith, and many are displayed in the Royal Cornwall Museum. In Cornwall, there are several important local features attributed to the Williamses family, including the Portreath Mineral Tramway. Built around 1809, it was the first railway of its kind anywhere in the world. This was Cornish mining in its heyday, a period that has left its relics strewn across the county's interior. It was also a period that made the Williamses family extremely wealthy. The history of the Williamses family is the history of Cornwall. The family lived at Carhays Castle, Scoria, Burncoose and Treglow. Georgiana would have known all these grand homes well. Emerging from obscurity in the late 1600s, the family became Cornwall's most successful mine owners and investors during the 1700s. The family expanded into banking and politics and were accepted after some hesitation into the circles of Cornwall's traditional landed classes. Do the Williamses remind you of a family that prominently features in a TV drama and a series of books based in Cornwall? It is believed that in the Poldark books, Winston Graham based the Warlegham family and their rise to riches and power on the Williamses family. Georgiana's maternal ancestors were as equally as illustrious. The Philpot family came to prominence through Sir John Philpot, who was a successful wool merchant, mercer and alderman of London. He married 3 times to women of high social status and wealth. He was knighted by Richard II for his part in putting down the Peasants' Revolution, which led to the death of its leader, Wat Tyler. And for British needleworkers, this is all history that we learnt in the schoolroom. Georgiana's great-grandfather was John Philpotts, and John married Sibella, and they had many offspring. According to one obituary notice, Sibella Philpotts had borne a total of 24 children. 6 of the children reached adulthood. The eldest son, John Philpotts, was well known in political circles, and the second son, Henry Philpotts, was Lord Bishop of Exeter. Thomas, Georgiana's grandfather, was the 3rd son. The youngest son, George Philpotts, served in the British Army, and he died whilst acting as governor of Bermuda. Now, Georgiana, she was born in 1859 in Kildare, Ireland, possibly because her father was stationed there with the King's Hussars, but it could have been because her father was in Ireland because of the Williamses' extensive business holdings in Ireland. Now, by 1867, the family had returned to England and they were living at the Manor House in Woolston, England. And her father died there on Christmas Day. Afterwards, Georgiana and her mother and 2 brothers moved to Cornwall, where they lived at Porthgwydden with a retinue of servants, which included a housekeeper, under housekeeper, 2 ladies' maid, a footman, a groom, a cook and other servants. We believe that the sampler was stitched while Georgiana lived at Porthgwydden, making this a Cornish sampler worked by a girl that was born in Ireland, and that is a delicious combination for me. Georgiana married Anthony Ernest Henley, 5th Baron Henley of Chardstock, on August the 31st, 1882, and their wedding took place at Porthgwydden. There are several newspaper reports of Georgiana's wedding. The event was society news both in England and Ireland. An extract from one newspaper brings her wedding day to life. From dewy morn to until dusky eve, the church bells rang forth a merry peal. The church tower being so situated that their gladsome sound could be heard alike some distance inland and away across Falmouth harbour. Then such of the ships as were anchored nearby put on their best display of flags. A well-devised arch marked the entrance to Porthgwydden grounds, and the letters in blue and white ground extended to the couple a hearty welcome. Another arch of much larger proportions spanned the road on the way to the parish church, embodying a wish of long life and prosperity. Close to the church was a similar structure on which was inscribed peace, happiness and prosperity. The nobility, the clergy and the gentry were all well represented to witness the marriage. A host of parishioners gathered to watch the proceedings. It was noted that this was the case with many of them because of ties of affection, the bride being well known to the parishioners generally and endeared to many of them. The groom's mother, Lady Henley, wore a magnificent purple velvet dress. Georgiana's maternal grandmother wore a rich satin costume trimmed with lace. The 6 bridesmaids were dressed in blue satin with white lace flounces, blue forget-me-nots and lace around the neck, fastened with brooches given by the groom. Georgiana wore a rich white satin dress and a train of brochet. Bunches and sprays of orange flowers served as trimming. She entered the church on the arm of her brother. The service was conducted by the Bishop of Truro. The wedding reception took place at Porthgwyvern. A separate dinner was provided by Georgiana for the church choir and the employees of Porthgwyvern. Georgiana's wedding gifts from her husband included a diamond star, a gold-mounted Russian leather dressing bag, a gold and pearl bracelet, a smelling bottle, a sapphire and diamond ring, and a set of ivory brushes. After the wedding, Georgiana and her husband left by the mail train for a tour of North Wales. Georgiana's fairy tale wedding has been brought to life for us through the various newspaper articles covering her wedding. But did Georgiana have a happy life? Did she live happily ever after? 6 years later, on August the 26th, 1888, the Honourable Georgiana Caroline Henley, as she was then, died. She was only 29 years of age. When I started to research Georgiana's death, I expected to find that she had died in childbirth, but she didn't. She died from a diabetic coma, which she had been in for 3 to 4 months. There were no children recorded as being born to Georgiana. Anthony remarried just 1 year after Georgiana's passing. Through the study of samplers, we gain insights into the lives of women who, with a needle in hand, stitch the very essence of their identity and aspirations into the tapestry of history. It's always the backstory that gets me. Now, when I gave that presentation to the Cross Stitch Guild earlier this year, when I finished, a lady stood up and said that she was married to Georgiana's husband's great nephew. Life is full of coincidences. Anyway, let's get back to Georgiana and her sampler. Georgiana is available now on the Hands Across the Sea Samplers website. She's available as a booklet and as a PDF download. There's her booklet. And this sampler is so elegant. If you have stitched Anne Campion, these two samplers will hang so well together. Not only are they black monochrome samplers, marking samplers, stitched by affluent or girls that came from affluent families, they are almost identical in size. Anne's sampler was 161 stitches wide. Georgiana's is 160. There's only 1 stitch different on the width. And Campion's sampler is 165 stitches long, and Georgiana's is 174, only 9 stitches difference. These two samplers are going to hang beautifully together on your sampler wall. Beautiful sampler. It's worked entirely in cross stitch over 2 threads of linen, so it can be stitched on Ada as well. Enjoy, Georgiana. Beautiful sampler. And Coco Chanel was correct. Simplicity is the key to elegance. Let's now talk about the giveaway for the Potoky modern stand. This is such an amazing giveaway, and I'm very, very grateful to Belkay Potoky and Kathy and David Mills of Hobby House Needlework for being the sponsors of this giveaway. This stand, the Modern, is my favourite lap or tabletop stand for holding a hoop. This product, it's all about quality, and it does exactly what it says it does. Everything about it is amazing, from the design, the shape of it, the way it functions, to the wood, to the paint, to the fixtures and fittings on it. It's designed to be used and enjoyed and to last a lifetime. I think the best way for me to describe this stand is to use Velké Potoky's own words on his website. The cross-stitch stand Modern series is a premium quality and compact size stand, crafted especially for those who love to have their hobby always at hand. This stand easily fits into a traveller's luggage, not taking up much space, and weighs only 800 grams. It combines a simple, concise, contemporary design with a high level of manufacturing quality. Designed for craft enthusiasts in today's fast-paced world. Perfectly described. This is my Potoky Modern. This is my little bag I have to store my stand whilst travelling. Today I had to go and get this out of my tote bag. I haven't unpacked from my trip to the States yet. This fits in my tote bag, and I have used my stand. I've used it in a cafe. I've used it in a hotel bedroom, a hotel lounge, an airport lounge, on the plane. I've used it at retreats. I use it in my armchair at home. I've used it at my kitchen table, and I've used it in my craft room. It's my favourite way of holding a hoop to embroider. And one of the things I love so much about this is how firm it is, how stable it is on your lap. There's nothing worse than stitching and something's rocking. I think because this is in portrait orientation, it gives more stability to something that's in landscape where it rocks. This stand, you just turn it over, you just swivel it to access the back of your work. Very, very easy to do. You tighten and slacken off the hoop by using this knob, and you can have it at the angle that you want, and that's so important. I've had stands from years ago where it is only in one fixed position, and that's no good for me with all my neck problems. With this one, I can have it, if it's on a table, I might have it slightly more angled. If it's on my lap, I will have it a little bit more upright, and this gives you such flexibility. And when you clamp that into place, that is really firm. It's not going to droop as you're working with it. Okay, so what do you have to do to enter the giveaway? What I would like you to do is go to the Potoky website and go into the tab marked shop. Explore the products on the Potoky website. Choose the one that you would like to have the most. Copy the website address for that particular page, then return to this video and in the comments post the link for the item on the Potoky website that you would most like to have. In 2 weeks' time, I will then do a draw for all those entries. Each person that enters will be allocated a number, and then those numbers will be fed into a random number generator, and there will be one lucky winner for this Potoky Modern. It's an absolutely super giveaway prize, and if you enter, it could be you that will be receiving this in the post in 2 weeks' time. well, you won't have received it in 2 weeks' time, but it will be going in the post in 2 weeks' time to you. Thank you, Velky, Kathy and David. I'm so touched by your very, very kind sponsorship of this. Okay, right, this video is going on for a little bit. I hope you've enjoyed hearing Georgiana's backstory. This is such a beautiful sampler. This sampler has touched me deeply. I really enjoyed stitching it. I love looking at her on my sampler wall, and I hope you do too. If you stitch down, this is the perfect companion piece to go with Anne Campion. Okay, I'm going to end this video now, and then I'm going to start to record the video for the ABC tutorial. Next weekend I'm going to show you some goodies that I picked up whilst I was in the States, and I will talk more about that visit. Okay, stay well, stay safe. Bye-bye.